Welcome to our newest episode about the Pharaohs of Egypt. Subscribe our channel and enjoy. The origins of the pharaohs are a fascinating topic, shrouded in mystery and mythology. The pharaohs were the rulers of ancient Egypt, and their reign spanned thousands of years, from around 3150 BC to 30 BC. According to Egyptian mythology, the first pharaoh was Menes, who unified Upper and Lower Egypt and founded the capital city of Memphis. Legend has it that Menes was a powerful king who wore the double crown of Egypt, which symbolized his authority over both regions. He was said to have ruled for over 60 years and was revered as a god after his death. However, there is little historical evidence to support the existence of Menes or other early pharaohs. It is believed that the first pharaohs were actually the leaders of small city-states in the Nile Valley, who gradually gained more power and influence over neighboring regions through trade and conquest. One of the most famous early pharaohs was Djoser, who ruled in the 27th century BC and commissioned the construction of the first step pyramid at Saqqara. This pyramid was designed by the architect Imhotep, who is often regarded as one of the greatest geniuses of ancient Egypt. Another notable pharaoh was Khufu, who ruled in the 26th century BC and commissioned the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the most iconic and enduring symbols of ancient Egypt. This pyramid, along with the other two pyramids at Giza, was built as a tomb for Khufu and his successors, and is a testament to the incredible engineering and architectural skills of the ancient Egyptians. Over the centuries, the pharaohs continued to rule Egypt with varying degrees of success and influence. They were revered as living gods, and their power was often reflected in the magnificent temples, tombs, and other structures they commissioned. The pharaohs were also responsible for overseeing the administration of Egypt, from collecting taxes and maintaining the military to promoting art, science, and culture. Despite their many accomplishments, the pharaohs were not infallible, and their reigns were often marked by political intrigue, religious conflict, and economic instability. Nevertheless, the legacy of the pharaohs endures to this day, and their art, architecture, and culture continue to inspire and captivate people all over the world. The term Anquat, pharaoh Anquat, is deeply rooted in ancient Egyptian culture and history. It comes from the Egyptian word Anquat, per aa, Anquat, which means Anquat, great house Anquat, or Anquat, palace. Anquat. In ancient Egypt, the royal palace was the center of political and social life, and it was from this place of power that the pharaohs ruled over their vast empire. The word Anquat, per aa Anquat, was later used to refer to the person who lived in the palace and held the title of king or queen. The pharaohs were seen as living gods, and their power and authority were believed to be absolute. They were the ultimate symbol of order and stability in a world that was often chaotic and unpredictable. The pharaohs' palaces were not only places of political power, but also centers of art, culture, and learning. They were adorned with elaborate murals, sculptures, and other works of art that celebrated the pharaohs' accomplishments and the achievements of their kingdom. These palaces were also home to libraries, schools, and universities, where scholars and intellectuals studied science, mathematics, medicine, and other fields of knowledge. The pharaohs' power and influence extended far beyond the walls of their palaces. However, they were responsible for maintaining law and order throughout the kingdom, collecting taxes, and overseeing the construction of massive public works projects, such as temples, canals, and roads. They were also responsible for leading their armies into battle and defending the kingdom from foreign invaders. Despite their immense power and prestige, the pharaohs were not immune to the vagaries of life. They faced many challenges, including famine, drought, and disease, and their reigns were often marked by political upheaval, religious conflict, and social unrest. Nevertheless, the pharaohs endured for thousands of years, leaving behind a rich legacy of art, culture, and civilization that continues to inspire and captivate people to this day. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were not just powerful rulers, they were also responsible for maintaining order and justice throughout the land. This was based on the principle of Ma'at, which was the fundamental concept of Egyptian religion and culture. Ma'at was the concept of order, balance, and harmony in the universe, and it was believed that the pharaohs were the guardians and upholders of this principle. It was their duty to ensure that Ma'at was maintained in all aspects of Egyptian society, from the laws that governed daily life to the religious ceremonies that were performed in temples and shrines. The pharaohs appointed judges and officials who were responsible for enforcing the laws and resolving disputes in a fair and impartial manner. They also had a complex legal system that included laws related to property, marriage, inheritance, and criminal offenses. Punishments for crimes could range from fines and imprisonment to the death penalty, depending on the severity of the offense. The pharaohs also had a responsibility to ensure that the gods were properly worshipped and that the religious traditions of Egypt were upheld. They were considered the intermediaries between the gods and the people, and it was believed that their actions had a direct impact on the state of Ma'at in the world. To ensure that Ma'at was maintained, the pharaohs performed a variety of religious ceremonies and rituals, including offering sacrifices to the gods and performing the annual flooding of the Nile, which was considered a vital aspect of Egypt's agricultural cycle. Overall, the concept of Ma'at was central to the pharaohs' understanding of their role as rulers of Egypt. They saw themselves not just as political leaders, but also as guardians of the fundamental principles that govern the universe. Through their actions, they sought to ensure that Ma'at was maintained and that their people could live in peace and prosperity. The image of a pharaoh wearing a double crown is one of the most iconic and recognizable symbols of ancient Egypt. The double crown, also known as the skent, was a symbol of the pharaoh's authority over both Upper and Lower Egypt, which were two separate kingdoms that were united under a single ruler. The Upper Egypt region was located in the southern part of Egypt and was represented by the white crown, which was shaped like a cone and had a small golden disc on top. The Lower Egypt region was located in the northern part of Egypt and was represented by the red crown, which was shaped like a cylinder with a large circular base. When the pharaohs united the two kingdoms, they merged the two crowns to create the skent. The skent was a combination of the white and red crowns, with the white cone placed on top of the red cylinder. The result was a powerful symbol of the pharaoh's authority and legitimacy as ruler of all Egypt. In depictions of pharaohs wearing the skent, they are often shown with elaborate headdresses and ornate jewelry, emphasizing their wealth and status. The double crown is usually prominently displayed on the pharaoh's head, with the white and red sections clearly visible. The double crown was more than just a symbol of the pharaoh's authority, however. It was also believed to have magical powers that protected the pharaoh from harm and ensured his continued rule. As such, the double crown was an important part of the pharaoh's identity and was featured prominently in art, sculpture, and other forms of expression throughout ancient Egyptian culture. Overall, the image of a pharaoh wearing a double crown is a powerful reminder of the pharaoh's authority and the complex political and religious system that governed ancient Egypt. The process of mummification was a sacred and elaborate ritual that was reserved for the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. It was believed that the pharaoh's body needed to be preserved in order to ensure a successful journey to the afterlife, where the pharaoh would continue to rule as a god. The mummification process began with the careful removal of the pharaoh's internal organs, which were placed in canopic jars and buried with the pharaoh. The brain was removed through the nose with a long hook-like instrument, and the heart, which was believed to be the seat of the pharaoh's soul, was left in place. The pharaoh's body was then washed and dried before being covered in a mixture of oils and resins to help preserve it. Next, the body was wrapped in linen bandages, with amulets and charms placed between the layers to provide protection and guidance in the afterlife. The final step of the mummification process was the placement of the pharaoh's body in a sarcophagus, which was then placed in a tomb filled with treasures, food, and other items that the pharaoh might need in the afterlife. The tombs of pharaohs were often elaborately decorated with murals and hieroglyphs, depicting scenes from the pharaoh's life and providing instructions for the journey to the afterlife. For thousands of years, the mummified remains of pharaohs were carefully preserved and revered as objects of great power and significance. They were believed to be the physical vessels for the pharaoh's spirit, and their preservation was considered essential for the pharaoh's continued rule in the afterlife. Today, the mummies of pharaohs continue to fascinate and inspire people around the world, providing a glimpse into the ancient civilization of Egypt and the beliefs and traditions that shaped it. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were not only rulers, but also warriors who led their armies into battle. They were often involved in military campaigns and conquests, both to expand their territories and to protect Egypt from invaders. When a pharaoh decided to go to war, he would often lead his army himself, riding in a chariot and wielding a spear or sword. The pharaoh's chariot was often elaborately decorated, with gold and precious stones adorning the wheels and the frame. The pharaoh's army was made up of soldiers from all parts of Egypt, including archers, spearmen, and charioteers. They were equipped with weapons made from bronze, iron, and other materials, and they wore armor made from leather, linen, and sometimes even gold. In battle, the pharaoh's army would line up in formation, with the chariots at the front and the infantry behind them. The pharaoh would give commands to his soldiers, directing them to charge or to hold their ground. The sound of trumpets and drums would fill the air as the two armies clashed, with arrows and spears flying through the air and the thunder of hooves as the chariots charged. Despite their military might, the pharaohs were not always successful in their campaigns. They faced threats from neighboring kingdoms and empires, including the Hittites, the Assyrians, and the Persians. And while they were able to expand their territories and conquer new lands, they also faced defeats and setbacks along the way. Despite the risks and challenges, the pharaohs remained committed to protecting their kingdom and expanding their power. Their military campaigns and conquests were a reflection of their strength and determination, and they helped to shape the course of ancient Egyptian history. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were not alone in their rule. They were surrounded by a court of advisors, priests, and other officials who helped them to govern their kingdom. The pharaoh's court was a place of great power and influence, where the most important decisions about Egypt's future were made. The courtiers included high-ranking officials, such as the vizier, who was the pharaoh's chief advisor, and the high priest, who oversaw the worship of the gods and goddesses. The pharaoh's court was also a place of great beauty and extravagance. The walls were adorned with murals and hieroglyphs, depicting scenes from the pharaoh's life and the daily activities of the court. The floors were covered in fine rugs and tapestries, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of incense and perfume. The courtiers themselves were dressed in elaborate robes and jewelry, with gold and precious stones adorning their fingers and necks. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices filled with reverence and respect for the pharaoh and the gods and goddesses they served. Despite their privileged position, the courtiers were also subject to the whims of the pharaoh. They knew that they could be dismissed or even executed at any time if they fell out of favor with the ruler of Egypt. Despite this risk, the courtiers remained dedicated to their duties, using their knowledge and expertise to advise the pharaoh and help him to govern Egypt. Their loyalty and service were essential to the success of the pharaoh's reign, and they played a key role in shaping the course of ancient Egyptian history. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt left behind a legacy that continues to inspire awe and wonder to this day. Their grand monuments and achievements are a testament to the power and glory of this great civilization. The most iconic of these monuments is, of course, the pyramids. These massive structures were built as tombs for the pharaohs, and they remain some of the most impressive feats of engineering in history. The largest of them, the Great Pyramid of Giza, stands over 140 meters tall and is made up of more than 2 million blocks of limestone, each weighing over 2 tons. The pharaohs also left behind a wealth of art and literature, including elaborate murals and hieroglyphs that depicted scenes from their lives and their beliefs about the afterlife. These artworks are a window into the ancient world of Egypt, and they continue to fascinate and intrigue scholars and visitors alike. But the pharaohs' legacy extends beyond Egypt itself. Their achievements in mathematics, astronomy, and medicine helped to shape the course of human history, and their influence can still be felt today. The pharaohs were visionaries who built a civilization that lasted for thousands of years, and their achievements continue to inspire us to this day. Whether we marvel at the pyramids, study their hieroglyphs, or simply marvel at their incredible legacy, the pharaohs of ancient Egypt will always be remembered as one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever known. Thank you for watching, subscribe our channel and see you in next episodes.